to have the 2 million first.
Facts. That is a lot of money to just have lying around.
Yeah, but if you're betting on yourself, then it's like that's an easy bet.
Yeah. Were you allowed to bet on yourself when you were fighting in UFC and stuff?
Only to you have to only bet to win.
Okay.
But it was always hard because there was no betting lines. Because there'd be times where you'd be like, dude, I want to bet on myself, and I was like,
All right, guys, we got Roy Nelson here. Thanks for coming on, man.
I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, Vegas local, right?
Vegas local.
How long you
one of those rare breeds.
Rare, yeah. How long you been out here?
Born and raised.
Oh yeah?
That's what I said. Super rare.
Okay. Yeah, that is super rare. I feel like Vegas has grown a lot since you were
super. Like I want to say when I was born, I think there might have been only 200,000 people.
Damn.
If that.
What is it at now?
2 million?
So it 10x'd.
Yeah.
10x, baby. And all these new hotels, restaurants.
No, yeah, but the strip's always been the same.
Yeah.
Just change the hotels.
Right.
It's kind of like the club, in the club industry where it's like got a new club every 4 or 5 years, but it's the same club.
Yeah.
Just a different name.
Facts. Was fighting big when you were starting out in Vegas?
Vegas, it's always been boxing.
Boxing?
It was boxing. Like back in the day, it used to be the Hilton, but now it's the Westgate. And then Caesars. They used to have the outside venue. Remember the Fan Man?
No, I came here 3 years ago.
Everybody knows the Fan Man from, I think it was a Riddick Bowe fight. They were fighting outside in the back of Caesars, and a guy on a fan, parachute came in through the ring.
What? No, I need to see that now. That sounds intense, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah.
What did you think of the recent boxing match with Ryan Garcia? Did you see that?
You know what? That was one of those fights that everybody, had him, bet against him, and then plus they thought he wasn't taking it serious,
Yeah.
And he's like, I've been drinking all the way to the fight.
Yeah.
So good for him though.
But you as a fighter probably saw through that and realized it was marketing, right?
Yeah, no, it's the thing is, in fighting, you either care about the guy or you don't. It's either you have to have some type of opinion. Yeah. Either like I want to see him get beat up or I want to see him win. But if you're like, who cares?
He bet $2 million on himself. Did you see that?
Yeah, but the thing is, you have to have the 2 million first.
Facts. That is a lot of money to just have lying around.
Yeah, but if you're betting on yourself, then it's like that's an easy bet.
Yeah. Were you allowed to bet on yourself when you were fighting in UFC and stuff?
Only to you have to only bet to win.
Okay.
But it was always hard because there was no betting lines. Because there'd be times where you'd be like, dude, I want to bet on myself, and I was like,
It wasn't big enough back then, right?
It wasn't even big. It was like not big enough, and then or it wasn't. There was too many like
legalization.
I will say hands in the pot.
Okay.
Like where it can kind of go one way or the other.
Yeah.
Because there was even in Japan they always had like some fights were we'll say staged or fixed
in Japan.
Yeah, so then they thought it might carry on over.
Damn, those Japanese people, man, be fixing fights.
They were always putting on a show.
Yeah, it's entertainment, right? WWE style.
WWE, but for real.
Yeah. You think fixing's still a thing these days, or is it kind of lost?
I think there was I think it was a couple months back. One of the coaches actually just got banned from because he got kind of toiled up with some of the betting guys.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Which league was that in?
UFC.
Oh, UFC.
Yeah.
Wow, that's surprising.
That's where the only money's at. That's where you can only bet.
Well, some of these judges, man. One of the Ryan Garcia judges scored it a tie. Did you see that?
Yeah, but see, the judges they can make it up. Whatever. I'm coming from where I've like been in a fight and going, what were you watching?
Right.
And so
because when you're in the fight, you feel like you're winning, but maybe subjectively you're not.
No. When in a fight, you're like, because if you've ever been in, if you've ever been in a fight, you know who won the fight. Okay. And your opponent knows who won the fight, and then at the end, you're like, okay, what like if you're like literally going, I don't know what you were watching, then and then you can go back and rewatch, and you're like, no, that's exactly because on the subjective side would be like, does he hit like a sister, a girl, or does he hit like a, like right. It's like, oh, you played pitter patter or tag or whatever, then you're like, oh, that's what he was judging off of versus a real punch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah. I feel like with UFC, you could pretty much tell who won.
For the most part.
Yeah, because you're getting physically beat up. I mean, it's
so
not like boxing where it's more like tactical.
Well, the thing is that I think with boxing, they actually start counting, like, oh, well, look, 110 punches to 7. You know, and then you're like, oh, that's the sweet science. That's, boxing.
Yeah.
Where at MMA, it's like, you're kind of going the same route, but then at the same time, you're like, well, no, I draw blood and and he was kind of woozy.
Yeah.
You're like, I think you hit him all. I mean, in boxing, it's where if you get knocked down, they have to judge it at 10-8 round.
Yeah.
Where in MMA, I could knock you to the floor. It's not going to be a 10-8. You might be able to come back. You might do some jiu-jitsu or because I follows you down, and then next thing you know, it's a 10-9 or it's reversed and it's 10-9 the other guy.
Yeah, that makes sense. You just fought the bare knuckle league, right?
I just did George Mesdal's BK, bare knuckle MMA.
What was that like? Because no gloves, right?
No, it's basically MMA, just no gloves, so a real fight. I think it brings out the. I was just talking to my coach today about it. Like, what's the difference between that and regular MMA? Is basically the fighters actually come out, where it's kind of like, we'll say, the old school guys that got everybody involved in MMA, from the Hoist Gracies, the Henzo Gracie to just Mark Coleman's, just the guys just love to fight.
Old school.
And then like now the sports kind of changed where they were just a little bit more athletic and they're just playing tag. They're playing towards the judges.
Jiu-jitsu side of things, yeah.
Not even the jiu-jitsu, just straight like playing tag.
Almost like boxing, like Floyd boxes.
Yeah,
right?
just where it's like, I'm not worried about knocking you out. I just want to go get the W and then just have the judges give me the win.
What do you think about that style versus the old school style?
That's where you lose fans. I mean,
yeah, I can see that.
It's where the brunt of MMA was in that 2007 from 4 to 2010. That was like the heyday. 12, and then the rest has just been pure marketing. Just like more, oh, this is kind of cool, something to do on a Friday.
Yeah.
Something on a Saturday.
More casual.
Yeah, that's where fights now are literally, I think the UFC has fights every other weekend or at least 3 times a weekend or 3 times a month. And then you might see one big fight once a month. I think a pay-per-view is once a month.
Yeah.
Now. But before, you used to have to, like, I can't wait until, December when this card's, kind of like boxing, where boxing is like, you'll see Ryan Garcia might fight twice a year, if that once.
Yeah, same with Canelo. I think Canelo only fights 2-3 times a year max.
Yeah, so it's because if you saturate the market, you're like, I'll get the next one.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know how UFC has so many events. I mean, it's crazy. They've really grown into like an empire.
Yeah, well, it's because it's all about media. It's more, what can I watch on TV?
Right. Yeah, during pandemic, they crushed it. They were the only thing on TV.
Because the only sports, the only, because everybody's like, you can't get that close, but we'll put you in a cage close to each other.
Yeah. I love that. You still talk to Dana at all?
Yeah, still, Dana, everybody else, it's such a small world.
Yeah, especially in Vegas. He lives out here.
Yeah.
You probably run into him all the time. I saw you training with Sean Strickland.
Yep, just trained with Sean 20 minutes ago.
Oh, nice. How long you been training with him before he was champ?
Yeah, when Sean moved out to Vegas to, train to, because everybody, all the fight capital of the world, everybody at the ever extreme with Randy Couture's gym.
Got it. I heard he's ruthless in training. I heard he could fight in training.
Yeah, no, he's actually one of the first fighters actually I respected, because he'd go, no, I'm going to go hard. and when fighters go, hey, I'm going to go hard, you kind of like, yeah. And then especially when he's an 85er, I was like, yeah, okay, you're going to go hard.
Yeah.
And then he actually went hard. I was like, oh, okay, now I can go hard. But sometimes boxing's different. When you go to a boxing gym, you already figure someone's going to try to take your head off.
Yeah.
But in an MMA, you're usually trying to put your best foot forward. Going, no, are we going to work? Are we fighting?
Right.
And then if you know you're fighting, then you're just fighting.
So when you're sparring, are you going 100% when you're training?
No, like the only time you spar like that is when you have a fight coming up, and usually you fight like that maybe 2 to 3 times.
Because you don't want to risk an injury, right?
It's not even the risk. It's just you just can't do that to your system that much.
Yeah.
Like you have to, train yourself to do it on, in 8 weeks. And then, but if you do it constantly, then your nervous system goes to crap.
Your body can only take so much damage, right?
It's not even it's more the, I guess, I don't want to say, I would say mental. Because
mental?
Because you're just frying your nerves.
Oh wow, I didn't even think about that.
It's not really taking the abuse.
Interesting.
It's but training you get hurt more. But it's when you're more half-assing it is usually when like we hear people doing football or when they're just not going 100%. That's usually when they get hurt.
That makes sense. Who you got winning the McGregor Chandler fight coming up?
You know what? They're at a higher weight. And then plus, I don't know. The edge, it depends if Chandler wrestles. If he wrestles, then I think it's a different, ball game. But if it stays standing, I don't see Chandler taking too many, because he's been in a lot of fights where he's been clipped the one thing is he'll definitely walk into that genre of trying to fight like that.
Yeah.
But that's not his forte.
Yeah, it's hard to beat Conor standing. I don't know if anyone's ever done that standing.
No, because the only people like Poirier did.
Oh yeah, but his leg gave out, right?
But that was with Poirier, it's because he's a southpaw too.
Okay.
And Nate is southpaw.
Yeah.
So I think anytime McGregor does somebody that's same side southpaw as him, he has a problem because he doesn't see it a lot.
Yeah, it's tough. He's lost, I think, 7 years straight now or something crazy like that.
So it's the what do you call it? I want to say it's the southpaw. I think that's his
weakness. Yeah, every fighter has a weakness, right?
Yeah, well, it's like I hate southpaws myself. So
yeah, you don't like fighting them?
No, it's just I don't mind fighting them. It's one of those. It requires me to think.
You got to react quickly.
Versus like when you don't see southpaws as often, like where it's like walking. If you're like, I'm always walking,
yeah,
and then all of a sudden you got to skip. You're like, how do I skip again?
Yeah. It's like a lefty pitcher in baseball, right? Yeah. You don't see it often.
If you don't see it, then it throws your game off a little bit.
You're not used to it. So that being said, who was the toughest opponent you faced that you had trouble figuring out?
I think toughest opponent figured out would be like somebody like Crow Cop.
Okay.
Just like for him, it was because he's southpaw, and the difference is he runs from or he runs into your power. Where usually
that's scary.
Usually they go the opposite, and
right.
so it's a different type of beast. Where if I got a right hand and he's running to his right, then I'm like, okay, get it. But he's running to his left into the power, and you're like, well, do I throw it? Like, what did he set me up with?
Yeah.
So you start thinking about it.
Almost like mind games, right?
Yeah. So that's why I said it's more of a when you're doing the hardcore sparring, it's more of a mental fry versus the physical.
Right. That's what people don't see in the ring. The mental game the two fighters are playing.
I think that's the big thing that a lot of people don't get.
Right. Because you're planning counters, you're planning your next move, you're planning your stamina, how much energy you got left.
Yeah. If you start thinking the whole thing is just to go out there and have fun on that night.
Okay. So you're not really thinking like round by round.
Well, no. Well, it depends on I've gotten in trouble when I start thinking like that.
Okay.
Because when I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to beat him in the second round, I'm going to do this. But if I just go, I'm going to do this and just leave it at that, then I'm always good.
Just more living in the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can overanalyze and then get caught up in it.
Because you're thinking about something else over here, and then you're like, oh, I got hit over here.
Yeah, that makes sense. Who's the, you probably get asked this a lot, but who's the GOAT in your opinion? I know Dana White has John Jones as his.
It depends on, I think on the GOAT, it depends on what your philosophy is. If you're like, oh, well, I don't care if he did drugs or, not drugs or, so if that's your GOAT, then, or if you're like, okay, the best guy that marketed would be McGregor, you know what I mean? Yeah. But then you had the UFC behind, so it all depends on what you mean by.
Yeah, there's different categories. Yeah.
If you're like, oh, the best jiu-jitsu guy, would be like Damian Maia, so it'd be like different guy or like somebody that never talked, Fedor.
Yeah.
but then you're like, it depends because he's like, he never fought in the UFC,
Yeah.
So,
Khabib too, people say.
He'd be like a Fedor, know, and he just did let him. But then you're like, well, who did he fight? And then you start, picking and choosing. But I think it comes down to, as a fan, like who'd you,
entertainment.
For entertainment, and for me, it was the heavyweights were my goats were Fedor, Crow Cop, and Big Nog.
Okay.
And those are my goats.
Yeah, I got John Jones as mine. And
John Jones would be the next version of like the
If it wasn't for that drug thing, I think it'd be obvious. Yeah,
well, yeah, because like with John Jones, that's the only that and then the his only one loss with
But he should have won that. I mean,
yeah, but that's what I mean. Like that's the one where you're like,
yeah,
okay, downward elbow there, and then you're like, well, that's not what they mean by downward elbow. So
yeah.
It's like,
also, back then, wasn't it more common to do like enhancers? It wasn't as checked.
Yeah, well, back in the day, you used to be able to, do TRT and all this.
Yeah,
all the different. They didn't really check or care because fans didn't care.
So when did it start happening where they started drug testing and all?
Oh, I think it was myself and BJ Penn. When we started doing, it was called VADA, voluntary anti-doping.
Oh, you volunteered?
Yeah, it was because I knew I was fighting all the heavyweights I was fighting. I already knew was juicing. So it was just basically, all right, let's do it.
Wow.
And so it was to take the, because I'm a competitor.
Yeah.
And I wanted to basically take the, mess with people's heads.
Did that frustrate you knowing they were juicing and you were probably better than them?
No, I think the frustration would be like when people would pay or, like the UFC would pay for a guy that would be juicing more than. Like,
got it.
If I know he's making $1 million and I'm making $10,000, then I'm like,
oh, it'd be that much of a difference.
Yeah, so that's why when you're looking at the numbers, you're like, I should get paid this, and
at that point I could see
it shouldn't be rewarded.
Yeah. At that point I could see why they were doing it then if it was that big of a pay jump.
That's what I mean? But that's the reason why they'd be like, I get caught. I mean, the best example would be Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Fighting Mark Hunt. I think he got paid a couple $1 million.
Damn.
And then won the fight, but then lost the fight, but still wasn't really penalty. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What's the penalty if you get caught? Is it a fine?
Yeah. Here it's like would be like Chase Bank, or some big bank messing up with like gold or whatever on stocks and going, oh yeah, we made $2 billion, but yeah, we had a $10 million fine.
A little scratch.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like 10 million. You're like,
yeah,
but you made $2 billion.
Yeah,
it's not the same.
Yeah, they just factor that into the P&L.
Right. Yeah, so you're like,
I mean, you saw Garcia do it. He was 3 pounds overweight. He had to pay $1.5 million.
Right.
$500K for every pound.
But then he made
he made 50. He said.
No, but what did he make? 15 million off a bet
off the bet, and then 35 off the fight.
Yeah,
which is crazy. at that age to be making money like that.
So you're like,
yeah,
this is no brainer.
It's like what, 5% of what he made?
Yeah. So you're like, that's like camp.
Yeah, and they probably gave him a huge edge, 3 extra pounds in boxing.
Well, especially if you're a little guy.
Yeah, that
way.
way.
If you're a big guy, that's not. You're like, whatever.
Yeah. Well, the knockout rate at heavyweight is way higher, right?
Yeah, heavyweight. But with little guys, that weight, that is water weight, though, that affects your brain. So.
Oh, really?
So you get knocked out easier.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
That's why like guys that cut a lot of weight, they tend to get knocked out a little bit more.
Interesting. Wow, because your brain's holding all that water, right?
It's the cushion.
Right. Oh, wow. Yeah, this is stuff people don't even think about as fans. We're just watching people get knocked out. But
yeah, so that when you're like, that guy, like, think of like a 205er that used to cut a lot of, you know what I mean? Like and if they cut a lot of weight and they used to be like 240 and then they cut down to 205, then they're the ones that tend to be more knocked out.
Damn, that's crazy. Any upcoming fights you got?
No, actually, right now I'm gonna head out and look out this weekend. We're gonna go see BKFC and go watch those fights because those fights are actually very entertaining.
They are, yeah.
Because it's 2 minutes of rock'em sock'em, and then plus you got Mike Perry and Thiago Alvarez. They're fighting. So I don't know when this is gonna be aired, Yeah. So, but it's actually a really decent card. And I went out to one of their other BKFC fights up in Salt Lake, and it was very entertaining. They got fireworks. It's kind of like a power slap.
Okay, power slap is different, man. Would you ever do that for the right amount of money?
We were actually talking about it. I'm like, yeah, for the right amount of money, I would definitely do it.
100K. Would you do it?
Hell no. That's retarded. No.
They were getting nothing at first, right?
They still are.
I think they're getting 5K now, right? Something like that.
That's still.
Yeah. Well, it's relative, right? So 5K for you is nothing, but for them.
5K for anybody to punch you in the head?
Yeah. I wouldn't do it. I mean,
I remember back in the 90s going, I would fight Mike Tyson for $1 million. And that was in the 90s.
Yeah.
And
yeah, he was different then. Now
right,
Jake Paul's fighting him.
But you're like, yeah, but he's still fighting for more than $1 million.
Yeah. And he's 60 now, so
it's a big difference.
Lost some power for sure. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe would you do it for 500K?
No, we picked a number. It had to be because there's no there's not an actual competition. So it's like whoever gets the coin toss.
Yeah.
Like if I get first coin toss every time.
Yeah.
Then I'd do it all day. I'll do it for $1,000.
That's what I noticed because I went and whoever went first won like 80% of the time.
Yeah. So I would do that. I would do that if I was the coin toss.
Yeah. Like they literally.
I do that for $1,000. I do that because I'd be like, I got this every day.
Yeah. They literally only lost if they miss hit, which happens too. But those miss hits hurt because you get hit in the bone.
Yeah.
Have you seen those?
Well, the thing is like it's supposed to be fingertips. But then I know I would just always hit with my palm, and what I'm going to do? Get penalized?
Yeah, yeah, for real. They're out by the time you get the penalty.
Right. So I was like, you're like, that's why I'm like, it doesn't,
Yeah, That I don't think I'd ever do that one, but boxing I'd consider.
Boxing's a different one because you're playing with pillows.
Yeah, you got what 12 ounces? I mean, do you even feel it at that point?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you do.
You definitely feel it, but it's the pitter patter, and then Well, small guys, it's usually the pitter patter.
Yeah.
Like it's the constant, the head bobbing your head. But with big guys, it's definitely 16 ounces, hurts.
I feel that. I feel like in boxing, I'd be nice because I'm only 180, but I'm 6'5". So I'd have like 6 inches on any opponent.
Yeah, well, it depends on who's cutting weight.
Yeah. But I'm pretty skinny for my size. So I think I'd be decent. We might have to start training. If I get the right amount.
The reach definitely makes a big difference.
Yeah, I mean Jake Paul, look at him.
He's not. He's a short guy.
Is he?
Well, he's for 185. He's like everybody else.
Yeah, but he's nice. He's only lost once.
But he fought a boxer.
Yeah, he lost once to the boxer. But he's got a good business model. You got to admit.
No, the business model is just watch. That's the. I mean, it's just entertainment. As long as you're,
Yeah.
Pride did it. Everybody's.
So would you consider him a real boxer or no?
Oh yeah, no. He's because I've seen him train. Like, I don't want to say true combat sports. Like, I actually want to see him do. I think he would do really well in MMA.
Yeah.
Just because he can wrestle.
Okay. Yeah, he was state champ in wrestling.
So that's the part where I'm actually more intrigued than him fighting. I like the Mike Tyson. The only reason why you're curious is because it's a good boxer.
Yeah.
With Tyson, but then if you take his age, then you're like, I don't know if that if that's gonna make any.
He didn't look too good against that last one he did, but I don't know if he was trying, honestly.
Tyson?
Yeah. Did you see his last fight?
Oh, he fought Roy Jones Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're two guys that are just, going out and getting paid.
Yeah, that was a payday. I don't know. I got Jake winning this. I don't know about you, but I just think he's got the edge.
But how is he going to win, though? Points?
Yeah, he won't knock him out, but I think he'll win.
Yeah, and to have Tyson, to beat Tyson by points isn't really does anything for your.
I feel that. You ever want to get into boxing?
Oh yeah, that's like one of my bucket lists.
Okay, so that's next.
That's on the list because right now I'm actually trying to either get on the Nate Diaz Masvidal card or even Jake's card.
I feel that. Who do you got winning the Nate Diaz Masvidal fight?
That one, definitely, it's interesting. It's I don't really have a. I just think it's gonna be a fun fight.
Yeah, because Masvidal won the UFC match, but Nate I feel like is a better striker.
And yeah, it's definitely an interesting matchup, especially with I think their boxing styles and how you block.
Yeah,
with the polos.
I feel that. I don't know what weight they're using, but you ever have to take the fighting outside the ring, out on the street?
No, I want to get paid.
No one's ever tried you?
No. Usually, if I'm outside the cage or the ring, it's usually someone trying to buy me a drink. So not a
good energy.
Yeah, it's not a.
So you're not like McGregor, just punching people at the bar.
No, nobody. I mean, people want to fight him because it's his attitude.
Yeah,
people like me.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, you were approachable at the poker event. It's about the energy you put off for sure.
I appreciate that.
What was your favorite league to fight in? Because you fought in so many.
Probably the best league or the best, I'd say, mental support was probably the IFL right before I went in the UFC.
Okay.
Only reason is because I would say that'd be more like the true like league style, kind of like an NFL or like a because I got paid a salary just to train, and then I got paid to fight.
Okay.
So there was no like so that wasn't like fighting where you're
relying on the
hopefully I'm gonna make enough money and then pay for my trainers and where the other way where you already knew I could pay my trainers because I got this salary coming in. Yeah. And then the fighting part was the bonus.
That makes sense because you got a lot of expenses, right? You got the training and food.
You got training. Well, besides training, you got you pay for your coaches, sparring partners.
Oh, you pay the sparring partners too?
When you get a little bit higher up.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Well, and think of like boxing. Boxing they do.
Oh, got it.
In MMA, the only time you don't is you're like, well, when do you have a fight coming up? You have a fight coming up? Okay, well, let's train together,
Yeah.
And try to work.
Has to align. Yeah. And the diet and the recovery.
Diet, recovery. That's why the UFC does with their the training center.
Yeah.
Where they're like,
that place is nice.
How we take care of you. It's so that you don't have to worry about some of the stuff that you start thinking about.
Yeah, that place is nice. I went there. I saw the cryo room and the hot tub room. It's pretty cool.
Cold and hot bath.
Yeah, you do that every day, the cold stuff?
I just took a cold bath. But I did the old-fashioned way. Tub, ice water.
Yeah, Yeah, there's some fancy stuff these days. How many minutes you last?
I usually do 15.
Damn. That is insane, dude. You got some mental resilience.
Like I said, but it's only once a week.
Oh, once a week? Still. 15 minutes? God damn. What temperature?
39.
Oh, my gosh. That is crazy, dude. You probably had to build up to that, though.
No. You're a fighter. You just do it.
Yeah, that's probably the easy part for you.
Because you just got done sparring, so you're like, it doesn't get worse than that.
Yeah. What's the worst injury you've had?
Worst injury ever had? Probably the worst is breaking both my my hands on when I fought Big Nug.
In one fight? Mm-hmm. Holy crap. His body was just that tough?
His face was. he has metal plates in his face.
Oh, that's not fair. So you're literally punching metal.
That's probably the worst because and then it happened in Abu Dhabi. Then I had to travel over, and that's probably the worst is because then I didn't get it fixed until I got back home.
Oh man, did you know he had metal in his face?
Not until when we did X-rays.
Holy crap, I'd be pissed because your hands wouldn't have broken if he didn't.
Well, yeah, no, yeah, it was one of those things that it hurt, and then, but you know,
did you ever feel like it fully recovered?
Yeah, well, I took a fight literally when I still had pins in my hand. So,
jeez, yeah, because sometimes you're just training on stop and you never fully recover.
And then, it was that, and then you know when the UFC calls, you just say, yeah, sure, I'll take the fight.
Yeah. Do they give you a heads up when they call or no?
No, they're like, well, will you take the fight? And I'm like, I'll take the fight. I just let you know I still have pins in my hand.
So it was like a few weeks before?
No, it was like I had pins. I couldn't make a fist. I remember, I think 4 weeks before.
Holy
I finally got 4 weeks before the fight, I could make a fist.
Nuts. Which fight was that?
Mark Hunt.
Did you end up winning?
No.
That doesn't surprise me. Couldn't even do a fist 4 weeks before?
Yeah, but that wasn't the reason why I lost that fight.
Oh, really?
No, I lost the fight because in my head, I was like, oh, I got this. I got this one.
Little ego?
Yeah, because first round, I got took it and got a takedown, and then I was like, okay, I like already pictured what I was going to do, and then I got poked in the eye, and then I couldn't see.
Ooh.
And then I was like, okay, but I still got it. Okay, I figured it out, and then I wasn't, paying attention. Then I got hit.
Crazy how a little eye poke can change the momentum of a fight.
Eye poke, and then just that mental, just of going, oh, okay, I got this.
Yeah, ego, man. It's like some people's greatest enemy.
Yes, sir.
Any other fights you lost that you feel like you could have won?
Oh, I see the problem thing. You're asking a fighter, and the fighter will be like, I could have won all of them. It's like you go to jail, and you're like, I'm innocent.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you probably can analyze it and just realize what you did wrong.
Yeah, because I've never been in a fight where at the end of the day I was like, dude, that guy was so much better than me. Like,
really? Never? Because you fought DC, you fought some big names.
Yeah, even when I fought DC, I was like, man, wrestler should have done this. I could have done this. It wasn't he was so like, there's so much here, and there,
right.
It wasn't. I've never been in that thought process of where, and I don't know if that's from being a fighter or what it was, but never been in that process where I'm like, that guy was just so good.
Yeah. Well, I feel like at your skill level and your weight class, any one punch can just end it. So
true. I've been the opposite where I'm like, dude, I'll fight that guy all day long with broken arm, no arm.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Dang. Are you like accepting of the losses, or do some of them still eat at you though?
Any loss is, eats at me. But like, that's why I always go, I'll fight you again. And then
they say no.
Yeah. So then I already know I already won.
Yeah. You won the mental battle. I love that. Dude, what do you got coming up next? And where can people find out more about what you got up?
RoyNelson.com. And then on any of the social, Roy Nelson MMA. And, but right now, just, bucket list stuff, whatever pops up.
Love it. Living spontaneously.
I love it.
Let's do it, man. Thanks for coming on.
I appreciate you having me.
Thanks for watching, guys, as always. See you tomorrow.